nevertheless, I'm so happy that we got together today, and we're going to be talking about something that we are both very passionate about. We spoke off camera quite a few times, and it's so beautiful, the mission that Stephanie is doing right now, and now with a story of empowering women in the past through several different nonprofit organizations. Now Stephanie has founded SheCan.Org, which is another initiative to really empower women to see other women as an example and see other women as something that they can also do, what it is possible out there, which I think is so beautiful. But I will let her talk more about it. Hi, Stephanie, how are you?
Hi, Angelica. You're so sweet to have me on this live. I'm so delighted to be chatting with you again. And yes, it's SheCan.World actually. And so we are trying to do several things. Really, the big picture is to make gender equality a reality in our lifetime. And it really is high time that we make it a priority. It's obviously a UN development goal, and we are really struggling with the time frame. I mean, it would take us another 140 years at the rate we're going now. I think a lot of voices are thinking that we've already gone too far. So, you know, there's obviously steps forwards, but often many steps backwards. And I think that isn't serving us as a world. It doesn't serve men and women or anyone. So we set up SheCan really to show what is possible. It's easier to be what you can see. So we're setting up the largest online library of women role models. I think we don't have enough women role models. I think something like 89% of younger girls between the ages of 12 and 18 can't name one single female entrepreneur. And you know, these are the data and the facts and the statistics are really terrible. Less than 2% of VC money goes to women-led startups. So, you know, we get a couple of pennies per pound spent of consumers go to women-led companies. So there is a lot of things we need to change, and SheCan.World is here to make a little bit of a change and really chisel away at those figures and to change them. And that's why we've also launched our all women made marketplace or shop, where we are inviting women made brands to come and sell their products and services, to set up something that will look like, hopefully, like an ethical women-made Amazon. So really a big marketplace of all women-made brands, and that's our goal. And then we are launching a third area of all women-made courses, because every woman that I speak to holds so much knowledge and so much wisdom, and we want to record little how-to courses with all of our women to make our knowledge and experience work for us while we sleep and monetize that. And so that's a little bit our mission. That's why we're here. And yeah, we're super excited in sharing this.
Wow, what a mission, right? You said so many things that are so close to my heart, coming from a culture where, you know, in Brazil, you know, back then when I left Brazil, I was 21, it was 22 years ago, 23 years ago, actually. You know, it was a very chauvinist culture. And I remember as a young girl thinking, I don't want to be in this environment, but what else can I fit in? And it was really hard for me to see myself fitting in that whole, you know, culture, the way that it was, and the expectations of women. And I think what you said is so real. You know, it's going to take us another 140 years because, you know, there's two sides to the coin. You know, like I feel that so many things have evolved, but really there is a lot of things that we're still in the same position, right, as women. And I think we talked a little bit off camera about, you know, it's not about being women versus men. And I really would like to touch on that, because I think it's beautiful, your perspective on that, because we, you know, I really think that that's an important thing to raise. We don't, it's, you didn't set up 𝗓𝗂𝗃 to be women versus men, or trying, to prove that women are better than men, right?
No, not at all. I mean, I am the wife of a wonderful man. I have 2 boys and a daughter, and so that couldn't be further from my mission or my mind, because I think we all know, and because we know it now, it's not rocket science. We know that if we and I hate the word empower, because it means that we are not in our power, which is not true. We are in our power, and we need to drive this agenda forward really in a dynamic and action-focused way, because it creates a better world for everyone. I mean, we will be better off economically and socially if we get to gender equality. And so it's really in everybody's interest. And so there is nothing that should speak against it. There's absolutely not one research or fact where it would mean that we take over. We are not interested in taking over. We're interested in having a seat at the table equally, which means that the world will look a better place. And I couldn't stress this further. I mean, with what's going on in the world right now, if we educate girls at the same rate of boys, it means, and we educate them in the same way, which means that we really push them into all the subjects where women are needed to be represented more equally. It's really just creating a balance, and it's a balance that we need to achieve, because we are still severely underfunded and underrepresented in all areas. And that just doesn't work going forwards. And I always think, and a friend of mine says that so well, Saha from Buy Women Build, she says we're the low-hanging fruit. And that's so true. We are already half of the world's population, or even slightly more than half of the world's population. And we're already here. And so, it's really important that we make this a central theme of everybody's efforts, because it will just create a better world. And that is not against men. And we're not interested in overtaking men and being the bosses. I mean, we want to be bosses, but we want to, I don't think women even think like that. I don't think that this is, if you look at matriarchies a long time ago, that's just not how it worked. And real patriarchal sign, that to have the upper hand, and that is just not something we're after as women. We are really after creating a balance, and I think it needs to be done with a lot of inspiration rather than harmful rhetoric, which is very aggressive. And I understand the rage, right? I feel it, and I really understand it, but I don't think it's serving us. And I think I think we're not going to advance like that. So we have to find ways of doing this in inspirational ways. And I really also think that we need to fix our international sisterhood, and we need to champion each other, buy from each other, celebrate each other. And that's really not difficult, right? That's every woman can do that.
Yeah, I think, again, you said so many things there that, there's so much I want to talk about. Like, I've got a daughter as well, and she's 9. And very early on, when, we always read books to the kids before they went to bed. I bought her the book, that Rebel Girls, and it was the stories of women that have changed, the history of time. And she's actually reading that again now by herself. And for me, it's, like I said, it's so important to show my daughter that, women have been doing some incredible things for generations, like for, centuries now. It didn't matter that, that even before, like 100 years ago, it was even more difficult, but they were still, doing some incredible things. And I think, like I said, it's like we are half of the population, right? Like, when you talk about the branch of 𝗓𝗂𝗃 that you're wanting to build this place where women can sell their products, I think it's so important, because the more I talk to women as well, in my own coaching business, I realize, women have been working, earning money, like contributing for decades now, and we, the idea that, that women, this is a new thing. It's not a new thing. This has been going on for centuries now as well, and I think it's very, very important that you are opening this space within the She Can as well, to create this opportunity for women to sell and promote themselves, in regards to their own business as well. And I thought it was really interesting you said about the investment. I'd like you to repeat that percentage again, because when you told me that the first time, I was just like, oh my God, that's when you see that everything that we've been doing, where are we getting to really, right?
Yeah, I mean, of course, things are going in the right direction. Not always, right? Because we see rights taken away from women in the US, and so I think that there is many things happening that we really have to unite as women in the world to fight against ways where we are pushed backwards. But yes, I think just before the pandemic, it was just over 2%. And since COVID, it's less than 2% again. So less than 2%, I think 1.9% of all VC investment go to women-led startups. That looks even worse for Black women. And so I think that's at 0.4%, I think. So we really have to, and I think this is something we have as women. We have each other, and we have a bond that is really powerful. And once we harness that power and that bond, I think a lot of things will change. And I think that's why we need to come together on these platforms, and we need to open all these conversations, because if we are together in it, then I think we will see a lot of shift very quickly. And I think creating things like She Can.World and many other organizations who are out there now coming into this space, trying to create change, that's really important. Not to ever compete with each other, really to champion each other. We can buy and sell to each other so easily. We have something like 76% of the consumer purchasing power. So we can decide every day where we're going to put our money. And we have to think about our climate, and we have to think about gender equality. And those are the big two topics. And I think we can really make a change there. And we have to walk in a direction where we're not consistently underfunded and underrepresented and just not at the table. There's many books that are really inspiring. The Rebel Girls one is really good. Yes. There is a more grown-up book by Kate Moss, where she rewrote 1,000 women back into history, because yes, they are missing from our history books, aren't they? And so we have to come forward with these stories, which is why I'm so privileged to be able to interview women every day about their stories and how they got to where they are today, so that young girls, but really we see from our numbers, these are women from all ages who tune in to listen to other women's stories and find inspiration, motivation, and support to say, if she can do it, then I can do it.
Yes, I think that's so important. I mean, we're so driven by that, right? When we see the light and we see somebody else doing it. In my own cancer journey, I saw so many people that were ahead of me, they had conquered cancer, and I just kept my focus there. And that was really, really helpful to me during a really difficult moment. And I think when you're doing that, again, it's crucial for young girls that are coming into this world, that it is still so fractioned, right? Like there is still so much division, and we still need to progress on a lot of different aspects of our lives to get that real equality without the fight, right? Without the, because I think, with the fight, it's just, it is draining, and it's making women sick and burned out and not happy. Like, again, I am very privileged to marry, I'm married to an amazing man, and I think, that wouldn't be something that comes to my mind to want to have the upper hand. Like, is just that we are different, but at the same time we are equal in our relationship. And I think that it's beautiful to show to my kids, a boy and a girl, that is possible, out there. And I think that's what we need to kind of talk more about it, right?
Yes, and I think, Angelica, you have such a beautiful and powerful story. And I think that women like you who come forward, tell their story in an open way, and really turn what their story is into their power, that's the most incredible story. And it has to be told. And I always think, for me, it's so beautiful to sit at this end, because I am asking the questions. So I get to hear the story, but I also see the power of women telling their story,
Mhm.
right? So I see it both ways, and every single time. And no matter where that woman is from or what sort of status she achieved, it's really empowering, and it's almost a physical experience for me. I hear and I see, and I really, it's almost a physical feeling where I get
Okay.
goosies every single time and think,
Yeah.
wow, and look at that. And that's what we need, because another woman out there who is fighting right now, who might have cancer and has a family,
Yes.
and, there is, we get so much support by
Mm.
hearing other people's stories. I mean, really other people's stories, but because we're women, we
Yeah.
resonate more with other women. So I think there is so much beauty in this. And I also think that we change this agenda and
Yeah.
this status quo one person at a time, one child at a time. So the more we fix our sisterhood, the more we fix
Yeah.
and live by example for our families, the more change we will see, and the faster the change we will see. And it's really about, as a society, recognizing, where do we hold still these conditionings that we think a woman is less than?
Mm.
Where does it? And to really recognize it. And each time it happens, whether we recognize it in ourselves, in our child, in our friend, and
Mm.
that we put it right in the moment when it happens. And I think if we get to that point, we will see a really fast development of this. And so that's how I look at it a little bit. And there is a beautiful author and podcaster called Elise Loehnen, who wrote On Our Best Behavior, which
Yeah.
is really a Bible, I think, in terms of recognizing these conditionings and
Yeah.
really trying to balance ourselves, right? It starts within us, and then we pass it on to the next generation.
Yes.
And that will create a massive change. I just think that we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to our children, we owe it
Mhm.
to our, husbands or boyfriends or friends, or
Yeah.
no matter who, to all the humans and everyone on this planet, that we make this a priority.
Yes. Yes. I think you're so right, because the world will be a different place once this is actually a real in our lives. I think, because, the feminine power, comes with a different flair, of a different energy than the masculine power. And it is about the balance, achieving that balance and that synergy between the two, right? What
Exactly.
inspired you, Stephanie, to start She Can?
I had been working with women in Africa for decades. And so I just saw the power of telling their stories. And then during the pandemic, we all had a bit of extra time and a bit of extra time to think. And I thought I shouldn't just be telling their stories, and they're very important stories, but
Yes.
really I should be telling many other women's stories. And so I started interviewing women on their journeys, and all of a sudden I thought, actually, I'm onto something, and there is real power in numbers. So I really am driven to not only myself interview women. I would love to encourage women to interview other women on their story. Always the sort of same set of questions. Go out there, interview your bosses, your mothers, your sisters, your best friends. And so we can grow this really quickly, because I think once we have 5,000 women's stories on our platform, then we really have represented all the different archetypes, all the different careers, all the different lifestyles and lives, challenges, and all of those things, which will really serve others in great ways.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So how can people reach out to you, like for the different things that 𝗓𝗘 is doing at the moment?
I mean, we love to get contacted, because right now we spend an enormous amount of time in trying to contact women to tell their stories, to come and sell on our shop, to record courses with us. So we would love to, you can DM us, you can any social media channel, email. We would love to hear from you.
So anybody who wants to share their story, but also sell a product, did you say? And also sell a course, right?
Yep. All of the above.
Awesome. Awesome. So I will add your details below so people can get in touch with you and your team. I mean, I think it's a beautiful initiative. As a mother, I have always been very passionate about that, for my daughter to always have that in mind, that ability, like I was saying, to really tap into her own power, to be whoever she wanted, to do whatever she wanted, to be free.
Yeah. And I have interviewed a wonderful woman called Darlene Dom, who works with the Singularity University in California. And she says something that makes so much sense to me. They have 70% of all their sort of startups set up by women, and they really change the future. And she thinks that comes from a very, very basic principle, that they believe in the inherent value a girl or a woman brings to the table, in her intellectual capabilities, in her worth. And so that makes all the difference. So I think that's really what all of us can do. Let's really practice this belief in girls and women, and that we are just as worthy with everything that we bring to the table. And I think then we will create change really, really quickly. And that's a one person at a time thing.
Yeah, I think what you said is, kids copy what they see, right? Like, and it's what we're doing when we believe and when we act accordingly is just demonstrating to the next generation and breaking some generational patterns that sometimes were broken, that women are capable of being and doing whatever they want, and to tap into their power, and just to rise to do and being whatever they want. And I think what you said is very, very important. Is like, they just watch us, right? They're watching us at every moment and every minute of the day. And when you don't have that belief, they are watching that. So having that belief is really, really important to change the next generation.
Yeah, I think so. Angelica, yeah, you said that
Oh,
beautifully.
thank you so much, Stephanie. I love it. Thank you so much. You guys, I will add Stephanie's details below, and she can please reach out to her if you want to share your story, sell a product or sell a service. It's going to be, an incredible project to be part of. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for what you're doing in the world.
Thank you, Angelica, and thank you for sharing your story. And your book is incredible. So everyone has to go out and buy it and read Angelica's story for a lot of inspiration.
Thank you so much. Take care.